At its height, over 1.68 million people in Florida lost their civil rights for life because of a felony conviction. In 2012, we started working on a ballot initiative that would create a pathway for people to be able to regain the right to vote, other than having to go and beg a politician or grovel at the knees of any elected official. My name is Desmond Meade, and I am the Executive Director of Florida Rights Restoration Coalition, an organic, grassroots, member-based organization in Florida that is comprised of people who have been justice impacted or who have loved ones who've been justice impacted. And our goal is to remove barriers to democracy and create a pathway to successful reentry for those who've been incarcerated. I ended up getting discharged from the Army by way of court-martial, and I was sentenced to 3 years of imprisonment. When I got back home, the main thing I think was something that a lot of folks who've ever had to deal with incarceration have to deal with, how am I going to get a job? Where am I going to live? These are just regular quality of life questions or concerns that dominate our thinking. It was during the third time that I was in the streets, once again, hooked on drugs, that I had a life-changing experience. I was just tired of this spiral of getting clean and then relapsing and being homeless and hooked on drugs and then getting clean and starting to have my life improved and then going right back to the drugs and right back to what I call the depths of hell. And so, because I was just tired of it, I found myself standing in front of railroad tracks waiting on the train to come so I could jump in front of it. I didn't see any light at the end of the tunnel, and I was just ready to end my life. And so I stood there waiting for quite some time, but the train never came. And so eventually I did cross those tracks, and I was able to walk a couple blocks further and check myself into a substance abuse treatment facility. And after completing that, I moved back into a homeless shelter, and while there, I decided to go to school. I was eventually able to obtain a bachelor's degree in public safety management with a concentration in criminal justice. And eventually I was accepted into law school, and in May of 2014, I ended up graduating with a Juris Doctorate degree. When I had crossed the tracks, I had asked myself, if I would have died, how many people would come to my funeral? And the answer was 0. That was a very empty feeling, to know that you've lived on this planet for so long, and when you die, nobody cares if you're dead. And I thought that maybe if I could take the things that led me to the railroad tracks, the pain and the suffering, and use it in such a way to help other people. So I was fortunate enough, before I left the treatment center, to discover what my purpose in life was. And it was very simple. It was just to give back. Florida was the toughest state to pass a constitutional amendment. And in 2018, we were able to not only get Amendment 4 on the ballot, but we were also able to successfully pass it.
Today, our returning citizens have their right to vote restored.
The people came together from all walks of life and moved a major policy, tore down the Jim Crow law that was in place in Florida for over 150 years. Amendment 4, because of our efforts, is enshrined in our state constitution.
Every expert said it was impossible to pass Amendment 4. Every expert.
The people did that. What the politicians did was insert themselves in it at the end and complicate it and created even more division. No matter who's in power, we're willing to roll our sleeves up because we've made a commitment after passing Amendment 4 that we are going to stand with every one of the 1.4 million people that should be enjoying the benefit of the passage of Amendment 4 until they're able to do so. The work that we do collectively is to elevate the humanity of people who've been most despised in our community. One of the things that we did for Amendment 4 that was powerful no matter what part of Florida we were in, we approached someone and we asked them a very simple question. Do you know anyone who you love who's ever made a mistake in their life? You're not thinking about those other people that's doing wrong, about whether or not the other people deserve. What you're thinking about is whether the person who you love, who you go to bed with, who you sit at the dinner table with, who you go on the family trips with, does that person deserve an opportunity at a second chance? And that answer, I surmise you, is going to be a little bit different than if it was a stranger that you were thinking about. To be considered a change maker meant me that I fulfilled my purpose, right? That, I mean, everything else is like gravy. This is like an affirmation like Desmond. You have taken all of the bad things in your life and you've done something to improve the lives of other people. Our vote, our voice, and our time. This is our time to make a difference. You had an impact in this world, in this country, in this state, in our communities. We can't get better than that. That's better than riches, that's better than fame, that's better than titles and degrees that I may have, you know, because none of those degrees matters if I have not done something to improve somebody's life. All of that is superficial, right? And it dies when I die. But to be able to change a life means that even when I die, the legacy lives on. So that's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. She got it out of me. How did she do that? Oh, she got me on that one. I ain't thinking about that.